So tell me a little bit about you growing up.
I was born at home near Longford, Kansas. Lived there all my life on this same farm. There was my sister and I. And of course, Mom and Dad. They raised livestock, mostly sheep, and some grains like corn and wheat. We didn't have electricity or anything like that because they just didn't have it in those days. And one morning, I was 7 years old when we started to go to school. I stayed back 1 year because I had one sister, and Dad really didn't want us to go 2 more years, so he held me back, and we both went at the same time.
And then there's a blizzard that hit.
Then, when this was our when I was in the first grade, we got up that morning and it was cold and blustery, and there was snow flurries, but you know, with no electricity, you didn't have TV or a radio, so we had no idea that there was a blizzard coming. And so Dad took us to school, but by noon then it had really started to snow hard, and so he decided to go pick us up from school, which was about 2.5 miles that he had to go. And he started out in the old Model A. And got only about a half a mile and got stuck. So he turned around and walked back home and got this car. And only got just a little ways beyond the first car and got it stuck. So he walked back home again and got the tractor and took it. Well, he successfully made it to the school and picked us up. And oh, it was just snowing so hard you just couldn't even see your hand in front of your face. And we got about, I don't know, a mile and a half from the school and got stuck with the tractor. And it was snowing so hard and the wind was blowing so hard, he knew that we couldn't keep facing that blizzard going north, that he said we'd have to turn around and go the other direction, that there was a farmhouse about 1.5 miles from where we were stuck, and he said we'll just have to go back to their house because there's no way I can get you, home because you can't go against that wind. So we went, can you stop that? I need to, oh, I forget. You have to add quiet. So anyway, we started walking south, and by then the snow was up to our waist, and we were just so exhausted from trying to walk through that snow, and our clothes were frozen. They were just wet, and we were so cold, and we come to this bridge, and so we asked Dad if we could please stop underneath the bridge and rest a minute. He said, okay, we'll do it for a little bit. So we went underneath the bridge, and we were sitting there, don't know the amount of time, maybe 10, 15 minutes. We told Dad, said, oh, this is so good, because oh gosh, we're starting to feel so warm. Well, he knew we were starting to freeze to death because our clothes were so wet and we were so cold. And so he said, we have to go. So he drug us up the hill and out of the ditch and onto the road. And I don't know how he did it. He wasn't a very big man, but he literally drug us the last 1.5 miles to these people's house. And they took us in and laid us down by a wood stove and warmed us up. And in the meantime, the farmer went out and got a wagon and horse and wagon, and they laid us in that and took us home. Poor mother, I felt so bad for her because she had no idea what was going on. She had no idea where we were because it had been a long time since Dad had left. But that's a Kansas blizzard.
And do you know if it affected anybody else around you?
Well, I don't know if anybody had those kind of stories. Didn't hear any of those, but I do know that we never got the cars and and the tractor out for, days and days and days, cause they didn't clear the roads in those days, and you just had to wait for it to kinda settle down, and go down and scoop them out and come home.
Wow. Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.